Welcome back, ballers. Let's see those thumbs up in the chat. Don't worry, folks. Cody's back. About to get started, everybody. We got those thumbs up. Appreciate you guys. Welcome back, ballers. Happy Tuesday night, my favorite night of the week. Welcome back to the 16th episode now of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and KODI. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. Also appreciate the thumbs up. Telling me that you guys can hear me loud and clear. Rambo, KODI, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I hear you. I don't know if I got something going on my end, though, but I had you cut out there for a second and like froze. So it might be on my end, but we'll see. Okay.
Well, I can hear you loud and clear, Codes, and it's good to have you back, my man. Thank you so much for carving out your time. I know the time's a little different for you now that you're back in the States. So hopefully you can get a little better night's sleep tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more fresh this time. Maybe I'll be able to do a little bit more. I'll be more fresh at least for these shows.
You know what I just realized too is that we actually started right at 9:11 my time, based off of what we were just talking about. But KODI, yeah, let's knock out some introductions, man. If you wouldn't mind just letting the audience know where those can find and support your work.
Yeah. Again, thank you, AJ. Thank you, Rambo. Much love to you both. And thanks for having me on. And thanks to everyone in the chat. You guys can find me on YouTube mainly, Decoding with KODI on the screen there. My Buy Me a Coffee link is www.buymeacoffee.com/decoding with KODI. And I also have an Instagram and an X account, which also under Decoding with KODI, but I don't use those as much. So, and yeah, I appreciate you all and look forward to this stream.
And we're glad to have you back, Codes. I know last week was unfortunate timing, but like you and I talked about, family over anything else. So just glad to have you back, man.
Glad to be back.
Rambo, what's up, my man?
Yeah, likewise, glad to be back as well, and glad to hear KODI again. Feels like it's been a while. And yeah, if you don't know where to find me, it's like on the screen says patreon.com/thetruthcodes. One tier, $5. We have access to the Codebreaker community Discord. There are very brilliant contributors to the Discord, so it's not just me. A lot of great decoders on the Discord, which you get as part of the membership, $5. I do have some free content. It's not that much, but I can also be found at Instagram, The Truth Codes on Instagram.
Yeah, and I can attest to that too, you guys, since joining Rambo's Discord. Oh my God, it's kind of overwhelming. There's just so many brilliant comments that are in there. It's hard to kind of keep up with everybody. But once again, for $5 a month, you guys, it's best deal in the world, if you ask me. For those that don't know me, my name is AJ. I go by Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. I also have a Patreon page for those that are interested in my sports content for codes and picks and things like that. Before game time, NFL season is right around the corner, you guys. Thursday night. Had a wonderful season last year and looking forward to another awesome season this coming year. So make sure to give me a shot. Check me out on patreon.com/onthemoneyball. There you can also purchase the 10 books that I've written at this point. Or if you don't have a few bucks to spare, no worries. You guys can email me at wordplaybook@gmail.com, 3 O's in book, and I will send them to you for free. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. It's always great to see the usual suspects: Susan, Coffee Girl, Betty, Enthused Dreams, Nick Spencer, Quantum. What's up, you guys? Really appreciate you guys joining. KODI, RAMBO, I already kind of told you guys the gist of what I had put together over, the past week, really over the last couple of days, that I thought we could jump into to kind of kick off conversation. But as I'm continuing to look into the NFL, obviously there's other sports I'm looking into also. And the WNBA season is actually about to wrap things up shortly, and they're about to enter the playoffs. And I had to screenshot this. I mean, especially with the work that both of you guys have done with regards to Pope Leo. I just thought that these 2 dates were so fitting, in the sense that the WNBA playoffs are going to start on Pope Leo's birthday, September 14th. And the season ends on Thursday, September 11th. So a week from Thursday will be the end of the season. And then 3 days later, on Pope Leo's birthday, we're going to have the WNBA playoffs kick off. I just thought that's amazing, just mainly from the sense of 9/11, right? September 11th, when you guys think about September 11th, think about how when the first plane hit the first tower, and then the second tower, the smoke that was coming out of the buildings was mainly black, right? Or a very, very dark gray. And then over time, as the fires built before the buildings collapsed, then that smoke turned into a pretty much a white smoke, right? Or a very light gray. And I just feel that that's so fitting in the sense of what happened when the Vatican elected Pope Leo, right? So that first day at the Vatican, they didn't have an elected new pope yet. So they released this black smoke telling the world that they have not come up with a new pope. And then when the white smoke comes, that's when essentially they tell the world that they have elected a new pope. So just wanted to kick it off there. I know, KODI, you had a couple of interesting observations backstage with regards to this.
Yeah. So I just noticed, and I mean, Rambo's brought this up too, but considering it's September 11th, 9/11 in Latin gematria, or Agrippa's key, whatever you want to call that cipher, divine feminine equals 9/11. And, Rambo's talked a lot about that with the divine feminine aspect, but also just considering that 3 days after that is Pope Leo's birthday. And then you have that connection with the Christ rising after 3 days. And the first one to see him was a woman, supposedly. So I think that there's some interesting symbolism going on there. And isn't there a big football game going on his birthday this year too? So yeah, I'm definitely going to look more into Pope Leo this month, because I think it's going to be a lot of stuff going on with him. As I get back into the swing of things here, I think going to be an interesting month to keep an eye on Pope Leo's connections. And me and you were actually looking into his connections today to the baseball game. So I think there's a lot going on there with that. So
yeah, definitely. When it comes to Major League Baseball, at least, the two teams, when I think of Pope Leo, there are two teams that stand out to me in Major League Baseball, and that's the Chicago White Sox, right? Because he's from Chicago, first American Pope, but he's also publicly known as a White Sox fan. So there's that one. And then also the Cardinals, right? Because he was a Cardinal before he became Pope. So I've already seen a handful of, rituals kind of line up with those two teams throughout the season. So continue to keep an eye on those guys, especially if if either of those teams are playing on Pope Leo's birthday. Look out, see what happens.
Well, Mr. S is saying that Lions versus Bears. I remember now. Somebody had brought that up one of our shows a while back, and I had mentioned how the Lion, Tigers, and Bears theme was big. And lo and behold, because I've been looking into baseball more lately, you got the Detroit Tigers. So the Detroit Tigers are having a good season this year, and of course the Detroit Lions. So you have something going on with that. I have to look more into, but of course the Bears are from Chicago, where he's from. So how perfect his first birthday as Pope, his team from Chicago is going to be playing. I mean, come on. I mean, just is that a Monday night? Is that a Monday night or
No, it's Sunday.
Oh, it is a Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. So like Rambo and I have talked about another game playing on Pope Leo's birthday, which is Rambo. It was the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are playing.
The Eagles.
The Eagles. That's right. So the rematch of last year's Super Bowl, and that whole thing with Leo, and Rambo's done a lot of great work coinciding the symbolism of the Chiefs with the sun and Leo and the sun, and of course the game's on a Sunday, right? So those two games in particular really interest me for sure. And shout out to Mr. S too, just talking about the smoke themes. He said the smoke also coincided with Puff Daddy's trial start date. Wow, that went over my head. I totally missed that part, but apparently I guess that's when that whole trial started kicking off. So what are the odds of that? Especially with the a lot of the inappropriate things that he was being trialed for, and similar to what's happened with the Catholic Church, right? Anyways, yeah. Hey, Rambo, anything else on your end with regards to this topic? Pope Leo 9/11?
Not so much Pope Leo, but 9/11. I did point out that the NFL opens on 9/11. That's the opening game. It's Thursday. There's only one game,
Yes.
which makes it significant, and that is the Green Bay Packers hosting the Washington, D.C. Commanders. Washington, D.C. is part of 9/11. That was targeted as well. The head coach of the Washington, D.C. Commanders is his birthday is September 11th. And I made that connection from the incident on August 10th in Washington, D.C., when Sean Charles Dunn threw a Subway sandwich outside a Subway sandwich store at an ICE agent protesting basically the militarization, martial law. And that was an important incident. And the address of that Subway sandwich store was 2001. I showed it in my video. I zeroed in right above the door of the Subway sandwich store where that all happened. You see 2001 on top of that. It's not a coincidence. So it's the hometown of, which is related to September 11th, DC. I saw who must be playing on September 11th, and yeah, they are playing. The DC Commanders are playing in Green Bay. And why is Green Bay even more significant? How does it tie in as well? The colors of the Green Bay Packers, which is green and yellow, which has been very significant. He also mentioned Notre Dame. They were upset. Well, that Subway sandwich store incident is very significant. We talked about its connection to Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is, it's connected to Subway. I mean, the big part of the movie was pretty much, connected to Subway. But the address of the Subway store where that happened was U Street. It was 2001 U Street. And I mentioned the U. Why is the U significant? In Germany, you had the U-boats. What are the U-boats? Those are the German submarines. Again, outside a Subway store, a submarine. Sub comes from a submarine. It's a submarine sandwich. And a German submarine was the U-boat. It was on U Street. And I also showed, to emphasize U, where that happened, a popular character associated with the letter U was the cartoon Underdog. So besides all hot dogs, serious symbolism, Underdog. That cartoon was in my video, coded into this. And I saw a sports underdog of some kind coded into them. When I saw Underdog, U Street, he wore the U. There is an Underdog coded. And what you have to look for with underdogs, look for underdogs and green and yellow. This Notre Dame is an example. So you don't see it here. Typically, they wear these navy blue and gold, but green and yellow are Notre Dame colors as well.
Right, because they are the Irish, right? So there's a lot of times where they actually do wear that green and gold, right? Yeah. That green and yellow. And then I haven't had a chance to see your last video, the shooter one, But notice too that Notre Dame, right? So they got upset in the national championship last season, and then they get upset by the team with the big U as their logo.
Yeah, so I mean, if you could show a picture of Underdog, because this is it's very important. Just the cartoon dog Underdog, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah. Hold on a second.
Just so what I noticed from that was that green and yellow. And the good thing about green and yellow is not that many teams wear green and yellow. It's a really rare color combination in sports. But from that incident, I saw Underdog and green and yellow. Yeah, see, there he is with the U. This was in my video. It was U Street. Underdog was a part of this on an occulted level. So what I saw was an underdog involving green and yellow. So you got that with Notre Dame, and it's significant, just as you showed very poignantly, that the team that upset, the underdog that won, has the U, which is pretty amazing. It ties in, and yeah, the underdog had the U. And while, okay, Notre Dame is a green and yellow, even though they didn't wear it there. So you saw the green and yellow, the U, and the underdog, which is all in my video. So yeah, I mean, thanks for bringing this up. But yeah, this is an even bigger upset than that. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Along the lines of this decode. But look out for underdogs, upsets, and green and yellow.
No, I love that, Rambo, for sure. Let me just get my slide back here, because the other reason why I brought this up was for two reasons. Sorry, just a second. One is just because it goes back to what you and I touched on, Rambo, last week on the Occult Rejects, just talking about everything with the portals and Donnie Darko, and then we segued into Damian Lillard now going back to Portland, right? That kind of stuff. But it made a lot of sense because Notre Dame, once again, they lost in the national championship game in football on the 20th day of this year, 25, where time equals 20 and 25, right? But it also kind of coincides with what happened with Rudy Giuliani. So for those that don't know, Rudy Giuliani on Saturday, I believe it was, reportedly was in a car crash. And when you just measure from the date of this football game, Notre Dame, I don't think Rudy went to Notre Dame. I could be wrong, but it makes me think of the movie Rudy. It's an underdog story. How about that? It's an underdog story where this kid, Rudy, he's a walk-on for the football team and ends up, being the hero. But it just made me think of that movie and the football themes. And sure enough, this game was played exactly 95 days after Rudy's birthday, Rudy Giuliani, that is. And sure enough, Notre Dame equals 95. And Cody, maybe you can correct me here. I'm blanking on the date when this story happened, but wasn't this like the 1st of August, something like that? This car crash story with Rudy? I don't know if you can hear me.
Sorry. Yeah, I was muted, like always. But the car crash was on August 30th. But the news broke on August 31st. And again, that was the day of Clash in Paris, which I already, at the beginning of August, I had brought, clearly brought that to people's attention, saying, this is a clear tribute to Princess Diana's car crash. And then this happens on the day. This is the headline news of the day of that show. The WWE show. It's undeniable at this point. And the guy's middle name, Rudy Giuliani's middle names, he has 2 middle names, and they're perfect. William Louis. And that's the first and last name of Prince William. And I had made the connection that, of course, Prince William is the son of Princess Diana, and he would likely become king if the king were to die. And I had made a secondary video later in August talking about how the number 142 was significant because if William would become king, his gematria would be King William V, if he would have that name, would equate to 142. And in gematria, the phrase "the king is dead, long live the king," that equals 142. Also, if you type in death and state funeral of Charles III, it equals 142. And I showed how that's the title that Wikipedia gave to Queen Elizabeth when she died. They put death and state funeral of Elizabeth the second. So I just translated that. So all these 142s, and then just so happens to be that not only does his name have the William Louis in it, like Prince William's name, it also, his full name equals 142. In the same cipher that I had said, the king is dead, long live the king equals 142. And not only that, but his birthday, as you showed, is May 28th. And the guy who headlined the show in Paris, the WWE show, the same day on the anniversary of the crash, Princess Diana, it was Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins has the same birthday as Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, how undeniable that is, considering I spent all month just talking, like I had no other topic I really wanted to talk about other than this show and this car crash. And then not only does my stepdad get in a car crash, like organically, then this happens. And this Rudy Giuliani got a neck injury, and that's one of the main injuries from my stepfather as well. So I'm just really blown away by this chain of events, and both how it happened organically to me personally, because I spent all month talking about it, and then how it just happened that this news story broke in perfect alignment with it. And there's probably way more to it. Like, because I haven't had much time to look into this, there's probably way more connections between Prince William and Rudy Giuliani. Another interesting fact, going back to the WWE, they have a wrestler right now named Julia. And her name is literally spelled the same way that Giuliani's name, with the G. It's like literally just
Julia?
a couple letters off. So I'm sure she's connected. Again, I just haven't had time to like dig deeper, but it's clear the connections are there. So I think I hit on all the points. I already did a video about this yesterday, and so people on my stream already saw a lot of this info, but this was the main topic that I wanted to really cover today because it really just is mind-blowing how it all played out. So, and don't forget Derek, he had a flood this month after he talked about a flood in Milwaukee, right? So he had a flood in Milwaukee after he had talked about Milwaukee in a flood. And then I had a car crash after I had talked about a car crash. So, and I had to do GoFundMe's twice this month, which I didn't ever expect to do, both for those things. So it's just really crazy to me. This whole month of August was super strange.
Yeah, no kidding, man. You got to be careful what you put out in the world, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's really
I'm
making
just glad
me
you're
question.
okay, man.
It's really making me question because, like, I mean, did I have some sort of, me and Derek, you know, we both did the same. Did I have some sort of manifestation power in that? Because I spent all month talking about car crash. I mean, almost every time I sat down the computer this month, it was looking to car crashes. Like literally.
And there was something divine that kept you from getting in that car.
Yeah. Again, I was about 2 minutes away from asking my stepfather if I could join him in that car. Because when I got back to the United States, my car was broken because it had set too long. When you let a car sit, my battery was dead. I didn't have the cash right away to fix it. So I was going to hop on a ride with him that day. And I actually had ridden with him a few days prior in the same car down the same roads. And he had mentioned to me that this car is little because it's a little Mazda Miata. If anyone's ever seen it, it's super small. It's a convertible top, super little. And he got hit full bore by a truck carrying asphalt at 57 miles an hour. He got hit at 50. The truck was going 57 miles an hour, hit him with asphalt behind him, which is a lot of weight. And somehow he survived. In fact, if he was driving a taller vehicle, he would have flipped and probably not have survived. But if I was there, I would have passed. I would have not made it. So I don't want to stay on this too long, but I'm just saying that something really strange happened with that. I don't know why that this happened the way it did, but it is very strange. And I'm just thinking about this a lot, you know?
Yeah. It makes me think too about, sorry, go ahead, Rambo.
Okay, so in an incident like that, it's almost like Donnie Darko, isn't it? You know, the
Yeah.
alternate, yeah. So you go into
Yeah.
the alternate. If you could time travel like Donnie Darko, this is the thing. So let's say hypothetically you could go back, and KODI, you did get in the car. That actually would have changed the sequence of events. Things would have been slight, so it wouldn't have been in the exact same place at the exact same time, because you have to account for there would have been a delay. He would have left slightly later had he had to wait for you to get in, put on your seatbelt. Maybe there would have been some talking first, and the timing would have been off. So you might not necessarily have coincided with that truck had you gotten in. It might have been a completely different set of events.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought about that too, because even my mom mentioned that. Because what's funny is the towing truck company that ended up having to come and tow him away, he was going to stop at that exact company to ask about something just randomly. And had he stopped at that tow truck place, he would have not been there at the intersection when the car hit him. But because he decided not to stop at that towing truck, he ended up getting hit and getting his car towed there in the end. And another crazy thing is that was on Wednesday. He had to have surgery on his skull, on his head. Well, the whole reason that he was out to begin with was because he was trying to fix my mom's other car, which had a blown head gasket. And he had scheduled the head gasket repair for somebody to help him on Wednesday. And the day of that, originally him scheduling the head gasket repair, he was getting his head repaired, his actual head repaired. So I'm just saying, like, a lot of really strange stuff. Maybe there's something divine in this universe anyway. We all know that. So I don't think it's a coincidence, but I think it's super divine. I don't know what to make of it really, but in general, everything is kind of just blowing my mind right now. I don't even know what to say sometimes.
So there is the question of fate versus free will. How much of it is fate, and how much of it is free will? So had you done such and such, then that wouldn't have happened. But then, like you were saying, you've put out that vibration of car crash. Did that predetermine it? In which case it was just fated, So yeah. It does remind you of Donnie Darko.
It does.
The song. It starts with the song "Killing Moon" by The Church from Liverpool, and the chorus of "The Killing Moon" is "Fate up against your will," which again it ties this into. I say about my decodes when I do, which is the same, I guess, for everything. There is a philosophical component to these decodes. It's not just pointing out. Okay, once you see the patterns, then you have to take a philosophical approach. Fate versus will. Yeah.
And also, Rambo, right? A big number that we had touched on with Donnie Darko and Back to the Future is your birthday, right? June 11th, 116. That's the time, 1:16 a.m., Twin Pines Mall, right? We talked about how Portland equals 116, etc. But shout out the Enthused Dreams. He pointed out that the runtime of the movie Rudy is 116 minutes. That's crazy, man. Now tying in with this and what we were just touching on with, different dimensions, like different portals, depending on decisions that you make, both good or bad, right? Time is of the essence with things like that, with the example you gave, Rambo. Whether he got in the car, it would have completely remanipulated the timeline of what was going to happen after they left.
Yeah. Or was it fated because he put the vibration out? So part of the reason, so we decode these rituals, the same numbers, and they use archetypes and symbols. Why do they do that? They do that because they're putting out a vibration. And when you do put out a vibration, it can have an effect. It's, I guess, manifestation. That's another question to ask.
Yeah. And that's, because of how much I talked about that this month. And again, in my whole life, I can't remember any of my family being in a car crash. This is the first one. So it's not like it has happened before. This is just kind of, and this is the only month I've ever talked about car crashes. So, and just to end on this, I don't want to make the whole stream about me and my stepdad, but the point is that this is the GoFundMe if anyone would like to support, because it's going to be a long road, but miraculously he is alive. as I wrote. And thank you to all. I just want to say again, thank you to everyone who already did donate. I mean, you guys are so amazing. I don't think you guys don't know how grateful I am for the people who did help out, because he was already struggling with his health before this, and with making money from his business, he wasn't able to work. So everything is good now. I think we're on the road to recover. He might have to have a plate installed. I'm not going to show the gruesome parts of this. It's way more gruesome if you see the actual parts, because if you guys want to see, the pictures are below on this page. But he might have to have a whole plate put it. The doctor literally had to put the pieces of his skull together like a puzzle. And now it might end up having to be a whole plate. They might have to go back in there and put an actual plate, because that might not. I don't think it's going to hold up. So,
Cody, if you could put the link in the chat, I'll make sure to pin it, and I will also add it to the description of the video, so anybody who hasn't donated yet and wants to, we can give them access.
All right, I can do that.
Thanks, brother. Since you have the screen, was there anything else that you wanted to segue into? I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just with the Rudy Giuliani thing real fast, back to that, since I have it up, with his middle name being William Louis, just like Prince William's. I just wanted to show the 142s real fast so people can see.
Yeah.
So I had done a video talking about this number in this cipher even. And it just turns out that the guy, and I forgot to mention that Trump, the next day, he came out and said that he was going to award Rudy Giuliani with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So that number actually manifested twice, because not only did he get in a car crash and his full name equals 142, he also is going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which equals 142. And this is the number I had talked about before, because that 142 there, which I decided to look into that famous phrase, "The king is dead, long live the king." And I made a whole video about it. And in gematria, that equals 142. And if you type in King William V, which was what King William would be if he became king, that equals 142. And also the 286, just to mention here, "The king is dead, long live the king." If you translate that to French, which is the original translation, the French created this phrase apparently for King Charles. In fact, this phrase was created for King Charles, the son, replacing his father, King Charles. So this phrase is connected to a King Charles twice with the father-son. And that equals 286 in English in the basic ordinal. But if you take it in French, which I don't have here, it also equals 286 in the same cipher. So there's something about the 286. So if there is going to be a death of King Charles, I have a feeling that the 286 is probably going to play a factor. So I've been kind of looking into that number as well. But I also found it interesting that "the king is dead, long live the king" equals 146. Well, what happened on Trump's birthday, 146 this year? No King's Day. I believe that I believe no King's Day was symbolic for the eventual passing or something with King Charles. So, and 470, you see the 470 there? "The king is dead, long live the king." Well, if you go, you see how that equals 470. Well, if you go into the standard and Latin ciphers and you type in Trump, or it's Latin, 470. And remember, no King's Day was on Trump's birthday. And I had made a connection during when that happened, how that was all connected to William, because he had turned 157.00 days old, like perfectly. And that's a huge connection with William Shakespeare and King James. So, and King James' middle name was Charles as well. And something that, just let me finish up with this. Something that Bobby Simpson had brought to me, also known by Casey Jones Astrology. Trump was born on a blood moon, of course. And we're coming up on a blood moon on September 7th. And Another person who's born on a blood moon is Kate Middleton. Of course, the wife of Prince William. And so my next video is probably going to be about this, but this is just a bit of a sneak peek. So here's Trump's birthday, June 14th, 1946. He's born on blood moon in Sorrow cycle 129. And Kate Middleton is born on a blood moon in Sorrow cycle 124, which means they're born exactly 440 lunar phases apart. Because when you're born on the exact, when you're born on something like that, you're going to be born exactly 440 lunar phases. And 440 is an interesting number in general. In Latin gematria, Antichrist equals 440. 440 is also 440 hertz. And I've been looking a lot into this guy on YouTube called Jane 108. He's all about sacred geometry and mathematics. And trust me, I'm going to be bringing his info into my info because this is something that the whole community's been missing. He's absolutely phenomenal. But anyway, he talks about the 440 being the altered hertz. It actually should be 432 hertz. Our music should be tuned to. So that's just a quick synopsis of it. But anyway, the 440 is like the Antichrist hertz, essentially, in a way. And it's funny that Antichrist does equal 440 in Latin. And he actually brings up gematria in his work, and he brings up the Latin cipher because he talks about the number 144, how light equals 144. And he's discovered a whole number sequence about how light is actually connected to the number 144, not just in gematria, but in other ways. Also in Latin gematria, time equals 144. So this is just a sneak peek of what I'm going to eventually be talking about, but something interesting to go with these numbers with the 440 and the 144s. And I think that's all I have as far as that topic.
Oh, that's killer, man. I look forward to seeing that video. Rambo, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I don't have anything to add to that.
Well, I was just going to say, Cody, I almost feel like you and I were manifesting that 142 months and months and months ago with my love themes. Again, 142 Valentine's Day, But
yeah, that combination of numbers, the 214 and the 142, which is Valentine's Day, that has been big all year, especially when Pope Francis died in connection to the 214 on 214. And he got sick and went to the hospital on 214 Valentine's Day. So I think that is all back to that riddle that we hit on many months ago.
Absolutely. There was also not talking about the 142s, but really quick, I'll throw this out there. I think, this hit the news today. Rambo, you and I have been talking a bit about the 88s, right? Going back to Donnie Darko, which took place in the year 88, everything about Back to the Future, etc. Did you guys catch wind of this story? We have another 88 death. I haven't coded any of this. I haven't looked into it at all whatsoever. But we have a Hall of Fame coach who pushed Michael Jordan to Nike, George Raveling, dead at 88. So it looks like he played football, but he was a basketball coach. Maybe he was Jordan's coach. I should know this. But this news is just hours old. George Raveling, dead at 88. And he's connected to MJ.
I had seen that story break, but I haven't looked into it yet either. But I'm sure there's something. George also reminds me of the Charles Philip Arthur George. That's also in King Charles' name. So, and then we've had a lot of George stuff going on, George W. Bush. But yeah, Michael Jordan has been a huge topic too, because last month you had that 217 code coming out with that movie Weapons with the 217 on it. Yep. And that's Michael Jordan's birthday. And what I found interesting about the score last night, going back to what Rambo said, you know how the UNC game last night with Bill Belichick and Michael Jordan was there at the game?
Oh, yeah.
The score ended up being 48-14. Well, doesn't that look like very similar numbers to that flight that crashed on Jordan's birthday this year?
Oh, yeah. What was it, Rambo? Do you remember?
It was 4819.
4819. Okay.
Yeah.
But the 4 looks a lot like a 9. I've always thought there might be something to the 4 and the 9. So I just think that's really interesting because Rambo talked about that 4819 a lot, and I just thought that score, it looks very. I mean, obviously 19 is not a very common football score, so the 4 is kind of maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a coincidence, but it could be something with that.
Also, remember the name of Bill Belichick's famous girlfriend, who's been making the headlines. Her name is Jordan Hudson.
Oh man,
Jordan spelled not A-N, I think O-N, Jordan Hudson. His girlfriend.
There you go. Jordan Hudson.
I didn't even know that, but that's even Hudson. Like we had all that Hudson stuff earlier this year too.
The Hudson River, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan's a river too. So it's some river.
Huh.
A lot of river symbolism. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I think we should look more into that for sure. With this Bill Belichick thing, don't forget his name is William. So I'm going back to the William stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that river connection has got to be there. You got the Jordan and the Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Absolutely. I just want to shout out whoever just called in. I got a feeling who it might be, but please call back in a little bit. I know Rambo has a little bit that he wanted to share with regards to Trump. So maybe we'll segue there, and then we can carve out, the last maybe 10, 15 minutes for any calls. So I apologize for not taking the call, but we will carve out a couple extra minutes for you to call back in at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Open up.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No,
Open up has a good comment in the chat if you want to bring it up real fast too.
Yeah. Sorry. Which one?
The 62 one in the chat with open up.
Oh, there you go.
Finish the Jordan thing off.
Oh, okay. 62 points scored in that game. Yeah. Jordan equals 62. Belichick 60. Yeah. There you go.
Also, there were 62 points scored in the Super Bowl. The Eagles won 40-22. The MVP and quarterback of the winning Philadelphia Eagles debuted the latest model of Air Jordan 1s in Chicago Bulls colors, no less. I thought Jordans came in a variety of colors. They clashed with the Eagles uniform, but they had to get that red and black of the Bulls on the feet of
Jalen Hurts.
Of Hurts. And he scored 40, so 40th anniversary of Air Jordan. It's called 40 Years of Greatness. There were 62 points scored in that Super Bowl as well. And I said this in my video. My video was titled The Great American Game. I said, so this is before Jordan's birthday. I said he will turn 32. He will turn 62. Jordan sums to 62. And there might be some significant ritual on his birthday. That's on his birthday. That's all I said. I didn't say what the ritual would be. Obviously, I can't be that precise. But because of all that 62, and Jordan being front and center of the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts wearing Air Jordans in Bulls colors, I said, well, that's 62. I said, his 62nd birthday is coming up. There'll be a ritual. I didn't know what it was. It was the Delta flipping upside down on Michael Jordan's birthday on runway 23.
Yep. And we just had the South Florida Bulls, right? Upset with that game. I put that out on the Patreon last week. That was I think that was the first, actually, no, that was one of the first college football games that went down. The South Florida Bulls being played in Raymond James Stadium, and Michael Jordan's daddy's name is Raymond James Jordan. There's a lot more to it than that, but it was also 23 days. That game was played 23 days before the opening date of James Raymond Stadium. So just add another one to the list. But
what colors do the South Florida Bulls wear? I'm just wondering.
Green, like green and white.
Oh, green and white. Okay.
I thought it was green and yellow, isn't it?
Yeah, hold on. Let's look it up really quick.
I'm pretty sure their logo is green and yellow.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. The Underdog. It also looks like a U. The Underdog.
Yeah, it looks like a U.
Underdog and green and yellow is a correlation. That's what I've been saying. So when you see big upset wins in green and yellow, I think that's going to be a thing. So yeah, I kind of suspect if that's a big upset, like you said, I wonder if green and yellow is involved.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah, it's a pattern, definite pattern.
And they're in St. Petersburg for what it's worth. But yeah, no, good catch. I thought it was mainly green and white, but yeah,
I see when you scrolled through, it looks like in the past they have like multiple logos. An older logo is definitely green and yellow. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, there you go. It's mainly yellow.
Yeah, that was, I guess, on a previous logo that they had. So yeah,
wow.
I'm getting this all from that Subway sandwich throwing incident outside the green and yellow logo Subway sandwich on U Street, U Underdog. No hot dog, Washington D.C. The hot dog is serious. That's actually where I got this correlation.
What was the name of the guy who threw the sub again?
Sean Charles Dunn.
Charles. I thought I'd heard of Charles in there. That's why I'm also thinking that has something to do with the Charles stuff. And Dunn, like Charles is done, like dead. You know, done. He's done. I don't know. Maybe that's a clue.
Could be. Huh. Wait, is this the Rambo look?
Yeah, the green and yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, oh my God, now I can't not see the green and yellow everywhere now. Jeez Louise. That's crazy, man.
This was actually a pretty major incident, esoterically and ritualistically. It's very major. And it pointed to the 9/11 game. The Commanders will be playing the green and yellow Green Bay Packers on September 11th. That'll tie into this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because Rambo was talking earlier. It's kind of hard to see here. It's just complicated when I click this photo. I'm going to have to switch tabs. But the address right underneath this Subway is 2001. So that was a really big part of Rambo's both videos. Well,
first of all, did we not just go through this whole thing with Hulk Hogan where he said the love is going to bring down the Twin Towers? Now, who's playing with the Packers on 9/11 this year? It's Love. Jordan Love, baby. Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, yeah.
Wow. All that just came together in my head. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This has to be connected. This Love thing going back to Hulk Hogan. And then this Subway thing going also. I don't know.
So this is the big Jordan connection to love. So like I said, Jordan is a river. It's the Jordan River. The city of Philadelphia is called the city of brotherly love. Where they get that name from is the original city of brotherly love, which was mentioned in the Bible, which was Amman, Jordan. It's the capital city of the country of Jordan. Amman, Jordan used to be called Philadelphia. And it used to, and it earned the moniker, the city of brotherly love. That was Amman, Jordan. So the United States of America named their original capital and the city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania after the original Philadelphia, the original city of brotherly love, which is now Amman, Jordan. So that's the connection of Jordan with love. So Jordan Love, that name alone is it's a reference to Amman, Jordan, the city of brotherly love, and the book of Revelation. I think that was the church in Philadelphia. I think it's one of 7 churches that remained loyal, I believe, and loved. So I think it was 7 churches, 7 chakras. What's the green chakra? The heart chakra.
Right.
So that was one of 7 churches. There just happened to be 7 chakras.
And that's why it's all tied back in with Kobe too, right? Kobe and Jordan were always the 2 most comparative to each other.
Cody, I mean, like that's wild. I didn't know that. So that kind of brings this whole Philadelphia thing together also. And yeah, I mean, I'll have to look more into that in general. I noticed just typing it in, Amman Love. If you just, never mind. I typed in Amman Love. I typed in the wrong thing, but it does equal Freemason in 3 out of 4 ciphers. But I meant to type in Amman Jordan. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but look at the logo of the Green Bay Packers. Have that G. So kind of interesting. Yeah, interesting that you stumbled on that.
Yeah, if you type in Aman and love, it equals Freemason in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers.
Jeez.
And this might tie back to what Derek's been covering forever. He's been talking about Milwaukee, and the floods. Of course, that's in the same state, Wisconsin. And then he's been there's no one's talked more about Jordan Love than Derek from Gematria. He's got a bunch of videos. And he did a video last year when they were in Brazil about how it was all connected with that song Love Hurts. And remember, that was the game in Brazil between Jordan Love and Philadelphia Jalen Hurts. And that was exactly 81 Venus years after the release of that song Love Hurts. And of course, Venus equals 81. And we measured in Venus years, and it was perfectly aligned. So it was clear it was a Venus ritual. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Derek from Gematria, he's done lots of work on Jordan Love and the Packers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out Jesse's girl. Just mentioned Love Hurts. Jordan Love got hurt playing Have Against Jalen Hurts. Also the movie by that name released on 2/7.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he actually got hurt in that game too. I mean, that was such a joke too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm just taking a look at some of the comments here. We got Spadium Viator. Being the Hudson is in New York, and Jordan Hudson is dating Bill Belichick, who coached in New York and now coaches in NC, where Jordan played, and her name is also Jordan after the river. And Jordan, yeah, exactly. And Michael Jordan's from New York too, so you can add that in there as well.
Yeah, he was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me think of a babbling brook, and then the flooding in, Milwaukee, like you've mentioned, Cody, the flooding, the rivers, all that kind of stuff. Wow.
My head's spinning a bit because we have so many different connections now. We have all this Jordan and we have this love, and now we have, the subway stuff going with the green and yellow and the Green Bay. My head's spinning at this point.
And shout out to Fading the Public. Reminds me of the song Power of Love from Back to the Future. Rambo, you probably remember this. You're the music guy.
Yeah, I brought it up last week.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Where Michael J. Fox wears the Nikes.
So I brought this up last week. And I said that song, it's a pop song by Huey Lewis, is actually quite profound. So we talk about the love theme, and yes, this love is everywhere. Is there a topic more mentioned in music than love? No, there's just like a million songs with love in it. And we talk about the love theme and the stress. In Greek, unlike in English, there's not just one word, love. In Greek, they have multiple words for love. So when you translate love from original Greek, you'd have to know Greek to know, well, what word did they use in Greek? Because Greeks have multiple words for love, because there are different kinds of love. And you have to question the context in which love is being mentioned. I mean, therefore, I guess the majority of the time in pop culture and what we're seeing here manifesting, I don't think it's a popular love. Sometimes it's actually quite creepy. The real love is the unconditional love, which is the most powerful force in existence. And that's not the same as the context in which they're mentioning love. So the most powerful force in the universe is that pure, unconditional love. And once in a while, that is what they're referring to. I'd give an example. In The Matrix, when Trinity, who represents the divine feminine, literally brings Neo back to life. She tells him, I love you, and brings him back to life. So what they're illustrating there is that powerful force, the most powerful force in the universe. And I think it's the Heart Hotel, I believe, is where Neo first meets Morpheus. But in that song by Huey Lewis, looking at the lyrics, that song is more profound than it looks. It looks like just a pop song, but I think they are referring to The Power of Love by Huey Lewis in Back to the Future. It is referring to that. Because you got to take into context what do they mean by love. It's not. I give that as another example of where I think he is referring to the most powerful force in the universe, which is not what's being referred to most of the time when you see this manifest.
Yeah.
Right. Like what was it? JM2. Bill Belichick is in love with Jordan Hudson. That's not what Rambo was talking about.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but that's an example of the way they use love, but in a different context, not in the context of the most powerful force in existence.
Mr. S also pointed out that Jordan's last game was in Philly.
I also see a lot of Michael Jordan references. People will just mention, like, okay, so like in English Premier League soccer, which is the most popular sports league in the world, Liverpool, we talk about Liverpool a lot. They've gotten off to a hot start. They've already jumped out to a lead, and it looks like they're going to just blow everybody away already. They look like they're going to build a dynasty. So the head coach of Liverpool just did a press conference because now they're just flying high. They look like they're, on the brink of like some historical greatness. And he mentions Michael Jordan in the press conference. It's just so weird. Like, it's just weird the way he mentioned it. It's almost like ritually he was told to mention Michael Jordan. He says, like Michael Jordan. I guess he made a metaphor of Michael Jordan as far as striving for greatness. I've seen a couple other places. Yeah, so one of my patrons also sent me a video from Australia, Australian newscast on 9/11, and they mentioned Michael Jordan right after it was breaking news. Just when they announced 9/11 in Australia, and right after showing the Twin Towers and the smoke, right after that they go straight to Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan had announced that he was coming back. So yeah, that's a powerful name with a powerful vibration, which, yes, a lot is connected to it. I mean, just like with Kobe Bryant, I think more is connected to Michael Jordan. And put that in context, the River Jordan, where Jesus was said to have been baptized. Very powerful name.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Cody, I see that you had requested share screen.
Yeah, just real quick, this is just another example of the gematria actually really might explain why there's also this huge connection, because again, this cipher is not easy to get matches, right? This Latin cipher, Jordan equals love, right? So, I mean, that might be kind of the basis for it. So, and this, of course, this is not the first time. I'm not bringing this. This is something that Derek on Gematria just talked about hundreds of times at least. He always talks about this Jordan and love thing here. And somebody in the chat's also mentioning the Hertz connection. I just talked about Hertz like frequency earlier.
Yep.
So like a love Hertz, like a love frequency, right?
Rambo, I think you've done some work on that too.
Yes, I've done multiple decodes on that. Yeah, Hertz and the power of harmonic frequency. Yeah, I've done a bunch of videos on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the shout out. No, I think AJ, because he pointed out that.
Yeah, but Betty Arm also mentions Trump with his mega or MAGA, kind of like megahertz. That's interesting. Kind of like how he hurt his ear last year, right? Hurt his ear.
Yeah, Trump's like trumpet.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the acoustics. Yeah, that's a whole nother. Like, I did so many. I've kind of been. There's been so many things going on, but the theme of acoustic resonance is very important. Like, think of how the universe, according to mainstream science, official canon, academia, science says that the universe came into being. They say the Big Bang. It came into being with a sound. But also, how does religion, I guess the Abrahamic religions, how do they say God created? By speaking the world into existence. Let there be light. Let there be, it's a sound, the power of the voice. And in ancient Egypt, they believe that the universe started by the sound of the honk of a goose. That's actually an ancient Egyptian belief. So it's all about sound. It actually has creative power. Whether you're using science or religion, it comes back to the power of acoustic frequency.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos recently of pointing out, how cathedrals, these just beautifully crafted cathedrals that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, how they're essentially like sound echo chambers, right? And like the bells with the cathedrals, like it's not just for show, there's a lot to it with that.
And that's kind of what I was getting at with this Jane 108 channel. I mean, I really recommend everyone that's here to check out his channel. He's a mathematician. He knows more about numbers than probably all of us combined. And he talks about the reference. He talks about sacred geometry in connection to the mathematics and how it connects to building technology in this world that works with the frequency that it's supposed to work with, instead of the frequency that our current technology on, which is causing us illness. And again, I can't explain it deeply right now because I don't even fully understand it myself, but I do know I'm learning a lot from him already about the golden ratio and the pi. He's brilliant, and he's always showing great examples of it too. So I really recommend this channel, Jane 108. But yeah, I'll be referencing him going forward, probably on my channel, so you guys will hear a lot about him. But I think that there's really something to that, and he's been talking about the hertz, the 432 hertz, how it connects back to the 144, which is also in the Bible. It's a huge number, the number 144, which connects back to time. And he made a whole video about the 144 and the time and the light code. He even talks about that, and it's brilliant work. It's really bringing more like into my mind about how this stuff might actually be connected.
Definitely. It makes me think too, like with the water themes, think about when, like, have you guys ever seen those videos, like when a certain sound is being played and you see the ripples in the water,
Yeah,
it shows the movement there too. But I mean, speaking of Trump, Rambo, do you want to segue over to anything that you had to share on the Trump stuff?
I have some 88 stuff, real quick. It's not a long, because you had brought up 88 earlier. So I have more 88s and Trump connections.
Perfect.
Can you?
I can see your screen.
Okay, good. So yeah, this is real quick. I mean, most people are familiar with the Trump 88 connection. I'll just illustrate how much deeper it goes. If we even need more examples, I think it's pretty obvious for most people in this community. But where do we get 88 with Trump? It is from the English ordinal, the simplest cipher. The letters that make up the name Trump sum to 88. So here's an example of how it manifests in the media or just in the news. 88 is the date, August 8th. Remember that his Mar-a-Lago, Florida mansion was raided on that day. Well, it's not a random day. This is ritual. They chose that day. It wasn't much of a raid. There was nothing really gonna damning to find there. They knew there wasn't anything. But also recall when Donald Trump read, he did this several times. That's when he was campaigning for the 2016 election. At multiple rallies, he kept repeating. It's a song, but he repeated it like it's a poem. Read the lyrics of this song called "The Snake." It's actually by Al Wilson. He's an R&B singer and civil rights activist. He wrote the song called "The Snake," and the gist of it for Donald Trump was that not to allow Syrian war refugees into the United States because they're Arabs and they're Muslims, and Arabs and Muslims are inherently evil, and they'll blow things up and I guess rape your women. That's what he said. So you'll give them a helping hand, bring them in the United States, and then they'll just turn out and bite you. And so that comes from the lyrics of the song, where a woman finds a snake dying on the road, takes the snake, begs the woman to help her. She's scared at first. You're a snake. I'm sorry you're in that condition, but you're a snake. I need to worry about my own safety. The snake assures her, no, just help me, please. You wouldn't just let a sentient being die. And the snake convinces her. She takes the snake home, nurses the snake back to health, feeds it. And once the snake is back to full 100% health and fitness, it bites the woman and actually poisons her. While she's dying, the woman asks the snake, "Why did you do that when I saved your life? And you reassured me you wouldn't hurt me." And the snake said, "Well, it's because I'm a snake." And they're saying it's your fault because you knew I was a snake. And when Donald Trump reads that poem, when he gets to that, you call it the punchline at the end, he's so giddy to deliver that punchline of, "Well, you knew I was a snake before you let me in." Well, I'm saying all this to get to this point. When was Al Wilson's "The Snake" released? August 8th. No wonder Trump.
Oh my God.
That's right,
Oh
on
my
August
God.
8th. See how deep it goes? And of course, when Trump was facing charges, how many were there? He faced 88 initially, 88 criminal charges. By sheer coincidence, apparently, yeah, he did commit 88 crimes. Look at some poll results. This is over the years. Look at the different polls. Why should you see this? You should wonder: should I trust poll results? Okay, so this one is from Forbes. This was back in 2020. 88% of Trump supporters appear to falsely believe Biden did not legitimately win. So 88%. This is apparently a poll. Here's another. Now this poll, this isn't even from the United States. This is a Russian-Ukrainian news site. It's the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine. That's where this is from. It's a Pravda. Pravda is the most prominent newspaper of record in Russia, but this is the Ukrainian version of Pravda. New York Times estimates Trump's. So it's the New York Times that had the estimate, but this they're the ones who are reporting it. Estimates Trump's chances of election victory at 88%. This is in 2024. A CNN poll, they say Republicans express confidence. Now this is Republicans now in Trump's odds at winning a second term as president. At 88% of Republicans aligned voters. So poll after poll. So Russia-U.S. flight searches surge 88% post Donald Trump inauguration. So they're saying that after Donald Trump was inaugurated, this was back in 2016. This is not the latest one. This is the 2016 inauguration. They're saying that they look at the web searches of Russians, and searches for flights to the United States surged by 88%. That's after Trump got elected. I mean, what are the odds of all this? Poll after poll. Miami Herald, a vast majority of respondents: will Trump and Harris concede election if they lose? Which is a pretty silly question. I mean, read up. If anybody wouldn't concede, it would be Trump. But so this is the question put out to people: will Trump and Kamala Harris concede election if they lose? A vast majority of respondents, 88%, also said that once the states have certified their votes, the loser of the election has. So 88% of people say that the loser has a responsibility to concede, which is, I mean, of course they do. I mean, but it's 88%. Let's just show you the length. It's poll after poll after poll. So here's and I actually shout out one of my patrons, that is Aris. Has given some very profound and helpful tips. So we just take a look at this first, and also, okay, so two people. So the first clip you're going to see, one of my patrons, Thomas Casal, pointed this out, and then the second part of it was pointed out by Aris. So again, it's the patrons who enhance my channel. I can't thank them enough.
And I was called by Congress about 2 nights ago saying, we don't understand, the numbers are so far off. And I said, is that good or bad? He says, well, we're taking in so much more income than we thought. We've never seen anything like this. What is it? I said, check the tariff column. And it's about $88 billion that they've never seen before. And that's nothing compared to what it's going to be. I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on? He said, so I checked. And I was called by Congress.
Yeah, so he said 88 billion saved or gained by the tariffs. $88 for the drug. It doesn't end. I mean, it's not a coincidence. So I guess so. This is I guess quoting the Matrix. I guess this is a headline on what he just said. Trump signs executive order to cut drug prices. Quote: fat drug costs $88 in London, and $1,300 in New York City. So this is a segue. This is another Trump number, but this other Trump number, it verifies the legitimacy of the Francis Bacon ciphers in 2025, because the Francis Bacon ciphers use the Elizabethan alphabet. So where does this $1,300 in NYC? So it's 88 and 1,300. Let's look at this poll. Plurality of public supports Trump indictment. Almost 9 of 10 Democrats, 88%, think Trump should have been charged in the investigation by the Manhattan DA, which has been probing the 130,000 hush money payment. So where's 88%? 130,000. And we just saw $88, 1,300. Those numbers go together.
Hey, Rambo, real fast. I think this is pertinent to add. I found this out a few months ago. This is pretty crazy. 88 is in octal, which is the eights, all about eighth counting, is 130.
Wow. I'm not sure what that means, though, but that is amazing information.
I was going to ask what that means.
It's base 8 counting. So this has been brought up before, like on Zach's channels, and how when you count and when you use base 8 counting system, which is all about the number 8, of course. It's called octal. It's called base 8. Basically, if you translate the number 88, it's 130 in base 8.
Wow.
And then you can find that on the Gematria. Let me just hold on. I'll just real fast. I'll bring up see where you can find it on the Gematria, or you can just find a site that does it. But or you can wait till your presentation's done. I'll just do it real fast here. So here's your 88 number properties. If you just go to the Gematria and you scroll down, it'll give you the octal counting system. So yeah, that's your 130 and your 88 connection. So I just had to stop you there because I think that's a big part of it too.
That's a great addition. Absolutely.
I thought it was funny that Gene Splice added in here because he was talking about the fat drug, Ozempic, the Wizard of Oz, right? You know, we're kind of on the bookends of Wicked from last year, and then a year later coming up, we're going to have part 2 of Wicked, which is the precursor to the Wizard of Oz. Just thought I'd throw that in there. That was a good one, Gene.
Yeah, Oz. Yeah, this is Ozempic.
And Dr. Oz, right? All that stuff.
Also, since we're on that, just real briefly, I'll get back to this. Since we mentioned Oz, I'd like to shout out John. You're familiar with?
Yeah, I think he might have called in earlier, actually. So maybe we'll bring him back in if that was him. But go ahead.
He discovered this super classic, The Wizard of Oz. Where did it open? Which is real significant. Like, it didn't open in a place where movies normally open, especially a huge classic like that. It opened in Green Bay, Wisconsin, of all places.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with Oz. And where the date that The Wizard of Oz opened in Green Bay was October 10th. Why that's significance? October 10th is the day that this year in 2025 that Sean Charles Dunn threw that Subway sandwich, the green and yellow Subway. So that's a really significant ritual. That was on 8/10. So that was actually on the anniversary of the release of The Wizard of Oz in Green Bay. And their football team is green and yellow. So there's a whole bunch of connections there with Oz. But yeah. I thought someone wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah. No. I was just going to say, John actually texted me yesterday, and I was supposed to call him back last night. So I apologize, John. He did mention that he might call in. But yeah, no, he sent me some stuff on The Wizard of Oz, exactly. And I was like, man, I'm having trouble following, but, because there's just a lot of information in the text. But yeah, There we go.
It is a lot of information, and it can get overwhelming, and you can lose sight of such an intricate web. I guess we do what we can with our limited human brains. So this is where the 130 also comes in, like 88 130. That was a great addition. Thanks, Cody. This is the Elizabethan cipher. It was 22 letters. There was no J, and there was no V. So it was 1 through 24. It's just like the regular gematria, but 1 through 24. But it's still used today. So there was no J, so J and I are just considered basically like I, and they have the same value, 9, and U and V are the same value. So it's 1 through 24. That's the Elizabethan alphabet by Francis Bacon, and it's just like regular gematria. It also has, the Pythagorean, where you reduce to single digits, and reverse. But this is the simplest. Francis Bacon, Elizabethan. Donald Trump is 130. So that's and I'll show how 130 has also manifested just with Donald Trump, and it comes from the Elizabethan. You're fired. That's his catchphrase from The Apprentice, which this is what he's known for. He's an actor. He's a primetime star. You're fired is 130. This is in the Elizabethan reverse. You're fired. 130. So how is 130 manifested? When Donald Trump, the first assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, they say he was shot at from 130 yards away. It's from MSN. The gunman, named as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, was shot dead by law enforcement agents on a roof more than 130 yards away. Not a random number, but we've seen why. Here's the story. Trump's ex-bodyguard says former president, this is after his 2016, this is before his re-election, owes him $130. Again, we know why now. It's not even a credible story. Really, the story was that Trump wanted to buy some hamburgers when he was in Scotland. No one in Trump's entourage or Trump himself had any money. So they asked the bodyguard if anyone could pay. The bodyguard said, "Oh, I'll pay it. I'll put on my credit card. This I'll pay you back." So just the idea that neither Trump or anyone in his entourage had any money is just silly. The reason was to put this in there.
Scotland equals 88.
Yeah. So, and he's Scottish. Think of Scottish Rite, Freemasonry. That was just to get this in there. It's just a silly story. It can't be verified. Anything they say in the media will run with it. Like, I think that's like the sandwich throwing things. These seem like minor things, but on the surface, they're silly. At least the sandwich guy he was protesting martial law. This is just silly. But it's for it's to get that vibration out. $130. This is the guy, former bodyguard from Scotland, said Trump owes $130. And these are ritual colors. When you see black and red, very often it's a ritual. When there's a ritual, these are colors you'll see for whatever reason. And he's just a McDonald's pitch man. It's just a McDonald's ad as well to put the story there. So this is the second assassination attempt now. This is after the first one from 130 yards away. The incident played out at about 130. So it's 130 in both assassination attempts. Now, it turned out they got real precise and said later on that the exact time of the second, this is the one in Florida, was at 131. But initially it was all around about 130. 131 with Trump's association with Back to the Future. That was the number on the locomotive that sent the DeLorean to 88 miles an hour and sent it on its final ride back to 1985. And Trump, as we've demonstrated, I think those who follow this work are pretty familiar with how closely Donald Trump is aligned with Back to the Future. I mean, Biff Tannen, the arch villain, is based on Donald Trump. So 130. So 131 is the official time. That's the locomotive, but it's about 130 again. And here's another story, anecdotal. This is from somebody who they said they were wait staff at a restaurant. In the 80s, Donald Trump walked in with his then wife, Ivana, to the restaurant I worked at. So this is the service person in New York City. The check was, look at that, $1,300. So not a coincidence. So this is a little off topic, but we kind of talked about acoustic resonance. Remember, we just talked about the power of acoustic, and I've done decodes on the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills. His last name Hamlin is a reference to the power of acoustic resonance. Well, in the Pied Piper of Hamlin, I think most people are pretty familiar with. This is also, so when the movie Weapons came out, I had some patrons say, hey, this is along the lines, because I was talking about the Pied Piper. It wasn't in the news. I just made this connection to the Pied Piper. So the movie Weapons is along the lines of the Pied Piper, is where children are being led away. Your minds are being taken over and you're being led away. Well, that comes from the Pied Piper. Well, it was in the Pied Piper. It was 130 children. So it's a little off the Trump thing, but it is related to things, acoustic resonance and the movie Weapons, which is out. It was they chose that number, 130. So all these things in the news, the check, 130, $1,300 tab, 1:30 p.m. assassination attempt, $130 he owes a bodyguard. He shot at from 130 yards away. There's the hush money scan. I didn't put $130,000 hush money. That's all from the Elizabethan calculation of Donald Trump.
Well, and it makes me think of the phrase "pay the piper." Time to pay the piper, and Trump isn't paying the piper back of $130, right? Like that.
No, yeah. Great connection. Yeah, it's time to pay the piper. Which actually, Roddy, we were just talking about Roddy
Piper.
Yeah, I think he used to say that, didn't he? That it's time to pay the piper.
That would be a question for Codes.
I believe he had some sort of saying like that. Yes. I'd have to go back and look and see what exactly he said, but yeah, I've always thought of Roddy Piper being connected to that riddle with the Pied Piper and stuff.
Roddy's also one letter off from Rudy. We've been talking about Rudy for a minute. Anyways.
Yeah, and actually Roddy Piper actually could play bagpipes. He actually played them. That's a part of acoustic resonance. Also, his birthday, I can't remember what it is. I have to look at his birthday again, but that is one of the acoustic frequencies. It's a specific, one of the more positive acoustic frequencies. It lines up to whatever, 400 something.
April 17th, 54.
So it could be one. So yeah, so it's either 417 hertz or 174. One of those is one of those powerful. I have to look that up because actually it was in my decode. I just don't remember the details. So this is one thing. I want to end this real quick. If you could, remember I asked you if you could bring up the picture of Donnie Darko and his sister at the Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah. If you just switch real quick. Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't get that image.
Yeah, I mean, I had to. The only way I got any of those images was because I had to take photos of my laptop as I was watching it. Because if you screenshot it, since it's free on YouTube, it shows up blank.
Yeah, so you kind of have to jump through hoops to, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was a very important. All right, so so this movie was released in 2001. Donnie Darko, again, Donnie is Donald Trump, and it was set in the year 88. So and it was about time travel, which is Back to the Future, Donald Trump. So Donnie Darko is a companion movie to it, and it's named Donnie Darko. It is a Donald Trump reference. So the context of this picture, this is Donnie Darko, and this is his sister Elizabeth. They just came from a Halloween party. Now, at Halloween parties, like, and you mentioned, AJ, how one of Donnie Darko's friends was dressed as Hulk Hogan. When you go to Halloween parties, you dress as familiar figures. You don't just randomly dress as something and no one knows who's this supposed to be. Well, maybe people might not get your outfit, but when you tell them who it is, it's somebody that people should know. That's the whole point. It's something that everyone can resonate with as to who you're dressed as. It wouldn't. So this is a very specific image. It's like, who is she? I asked you, like, who was she dressed as? With the black hair and just the hairstyle. It was the low, right above her, kind of low hang above her forehead. In black. Who was that? Now, so just a reminder. So this, the movie was released in 2001. So people seeing the movie in 2001 would recognize this image. But they would forget. Sometimes seeing the movie, you'll forget that the movie is set in 1988. So this is supposed to be happening in 1988. Well, I will show you who that is, because you didn't recognize who that was, Age. This is who that was.
Okay.
So who?
Well, I was just going to say the only reason I brought this up, you guys, in our last show on the Occult Rejects, was because of what you were pointing out, Rambo, about Hulk Hogan and Miss Elizabeth. His sister, who he's kissing here before he goes back upstairs, her name's Elizabeth. So that was really the only reason I was bringing it up. But yeah, let me pass it back off to you.
So who was Elizabeth dressed as? Now, an audience in 2001 will forget that Donnie Darko is set in 1988. So that is October, I guess, was it 30th or 31st? I guess the party on the 30th, I think. So it's around October 30th they had the party.
There's another 1:30 kind of.
yeah, there's a 1:30. Yeah, great observation. Yeah. So the party was October 30, 1988. Elizabeth, his sister, was dressed as a famous from a big classic movie, a cult classic and successful movie, which was Pulp Fiction. This is who she's dressed as. This character here in Pulp Fiction, the black, you see the hairstyle?
Yeah.
Her name is Mia Wallace. So she's the wife of a gangster named Wallace. And this is played by Uma Thurman, a very, very popular character. Now, in 2001, you go to a Halloween party dressed like this, people will remember. Those who, most people say, that's the character, even if they don't remember the name. That's the character from Pulp Fiction. It's very famous. That's actually this is actually the image on the poster for Pulp Fiction. So that's how iconic a recognizable image. It's on the poster of Pulp Fiction, which is a cult classic. And this is the kicker. When was Pulp Fiction released? In 1994. So what does that tell you about Elizabeth? It's set in 1988. In 2001, you forget that. It's in 1988. She's dressed as a character that's only recognizable in October 1994 and after, but that's in 1988. So that's also, what is that telling you? That she time traveled, because she's in 88. She's 88 portraying a character that didn't exist until 6 years later.
Right.
So that's a little twist that I realized in Donnie Darko, that she's dressed as a character that should not have existed, that nobody should have recognized her character back in 1988 Halloween party.
Sure.
But if you're watching the movie, you don't really get that, because you do recognize who she is, but you're forgetting that you're in 2001 and that's 1988. So that's just a little twist. So the only thing I just looked at real quick, I don't know if it's a major thing. This is Mia Wallace, and Donnie Darko seems to be relevant now. There's only one Wallace in the NFL. That's a wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. He's I guess their third option wide receiver, Tylan Wallace. So if there's an NFL connection to Wallace, because that's who this is, and it actually is a pretty big part of Donnie Darko, because it's a hidden indication that, what does that mean? I guess they time travel. That means she saw the future. She saw Pulp Fiction, which had not been released yet. She had seen it, to dress like that, and a lot of them must have, if they recognize who she was, they must have seen Pulp Fiction in the future. Yeah. So I'll leave it.
Just the last name Wallace, Trump and Wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Wallace is Trump 88
connection there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's the presentation of the day.
Yeah, I'm just going to show with what Rambo was touching on earlier. This is just a couple snippets from when we were on with the Occult Rejects last week. But here's the scene at the Halloween party. Here's Donnie Darko just standing right next to Hulk Hogan. And then I pointed out how, and this was all from Rambo, really, it all kind of stemmed from when we were talking about celebrity deathmatch, right? We kind of just stumbled into that with him Ozzy holding Queen Elizabeth on his shoulders, and et cetera, et cetera. But you really emphasize that this pose of him holding Miss Elizabeth was a huge deal. And sure enough, as I'm watching this movie, after, sorry to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, his girlfriend dies after the party, and here he is walking down the street holding his deceased girlfriend, just like Hulk Hogan. I mean, unbelievable, man. Crazy. A lot more to it than that. Make sure to go back and check that out. Codes, you got anything else to add with that piece?
Not specifically, but it was. I didn't even get a chance to go back and watch your guys' stream from last week. To be honest, I've been so busy, but I feel like I missed a lot of things. But I definitely feel like definitely what Rambo pointed out there with the fact that she's not wearing, or she's wearing something from a time that didn't even exist yet. Just more proof that this time travel thing, which has already been big this year. I mean, of course, but I still feel like it's pointing to the Super Bowl next year in San Francisco with the end of the line stuff that we already talked about. And I'm just interested to see, since we're getting close to the NFL season now, I'm interested to see how this season plays out and how that actually manifests itself with the whole thing. Because then we also had that Milwaukee thing, which I know Rambo connected the Brewers, the Miller time, and that connects to the Brewers. And yeah, there's so much I could think about how this connects to this time travel stuff. And Donnie Darko seems to be also completely tied in with that. So, yeah, I don't have anything specifically to add, but Fading the Public says 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I'm also interested to see, because this week we got the Blood Moon, and then the WWE is going to be, well, they were just in France, but now they're going to Chicago. Can you believe it? Like, they're going from France and then they're going to Chicago. So, and we know how big Chicago's going to be with the Pope and stuff this month. And, but the guy that's going to be starring in Chicago is the guy born on Back to the Future Day, CM Punk. He's going to be going there, and there's going to be a big reveal, I think, in the show. So I'm really watching this week to see what happens with the football and connection with the WWE, because it seems like it's all kind of lining up for Pope Leo. And I've already showed how Pope Leo is, like, one of the main reasons he's scripted into this is because of his connections to Back to the Future. I did like 2 or 3 whole videos on how he's connected to Back to the Future. So yeah.
Well, that's good. I think it's good timing, because we did start about 10 minutes late, and we are right at about that hour and a half mark. I did kind of make a promise to the viewers. If anybody does want to call in right now, we'll open up the phone line for a few minutes. Let me just get it up on the screen here. I did have someone call in earlier from a 513 number, which is Cincinnati code. So probably, I don't know. I feel like you may be familiar with your Ohio area codes, but let me just get that on the screen here for anybody that wants to call in. I know John also mentioned, Rambo, that he might call in just to add a couple things with the Wizard of Oz stuff. But in the interim, I also wanted to share something. I totally forgot about this. I stumbled upon this earlier today. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but you were just talking about Chicago, right, Coates?
Yeah.
Chicago's known for the Great Chicago Fire, right? Well, there just so happens to have been apparently a man found dead at Burning Man, which has been going on for however many days it goes on for. But like, look at this. Burning Man is crazier than usual with a murder mystery, demonic claims. Burning Man homicide rocks festival.
Isn't it every year there's some sort of weird story out of this thing?
Well, yeah, well, because there was another story about Burning Man just this year about the orgy tent or whatever it's called. Did you hear about that one? There was a gnarly sandstorm that blew through the grounds, and apparently it blew away the orgy tent.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that existed.
Me neither. I was like, wait, that's the thing?
They have those at a lot of concerts. Because I know a guy who went to a concert like that. They did a second Woodstock in New York, which is a disaster. And a guy went there, and he said he saw exactly that. That's the thing.
Are you talking about the one in '99 in New York?
Yeah. In New York, they did like, they actually wanted to relive Woodstock and do a new Woodstock.
Yeah,
and that one was just a complete disaster. They never did it again. But I know a guy who went to it, and he described exactly that orgy. Or they didn't use the term orgy tent, but yeah, he described exactly that.
Yeah, I think it was called the Orgy Dome, and I'm not going to act like I was there. I was 9 when Woodstock 99 came out, but there is a 3-part series on Netflix called Trainwreck Woodstock 99. And the three episodes break down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday about like what went down. And oh my God, man, holy smokes. What a shit show that was. So it doesn't shock me at all that something like that was there, but yeah. So
yeah, it's not surprising that this thing is happening with Burning Man also. I mean, like I said, every year I expect something out of this show or out of this festival.
Yeah, same here. So anyways, guys, I know I have left the phone line open just for a few minutes. Don't be shy. But yeah, I mean, between the death of what was his name again? I already forgot. The basketball coach, Jordan coach, death 88. Yeah, George Raveling. I gotta make sure to make note of that. This news broke today. Dead at 88. There you go. Another 88. Another Jordan connection. Huh. I feel like things are coming together rather than unraveling. Unintended. But he went to Villanova Catholic school. Then we had that Catholic school shooting or Catholic mass shooting last week. Shout out to you, Codes. You did a great breakdown on that, especially with that 217 connection with weapons and 2 dead, 17 injured, etc. I know you and Donut have been on that for a little bit.
Yeah, and I come to find out that 217 is actually my name gematria.
Oh, really?
My full name gematria in the basic English cipher is 217. I've been talking all about this 217. I never really realized that. I mean, I did know it, but I was like, oh wow, my name gematria is 217. But yeah, that 217 was big last month, and yeah, I haven't really. There's another channel that covered the importance of the 217. Can't remember the name of his channel now, but yeah, there's something with that number also. Especially last month, just because of the weapons movie the whole number in the movie was 217. And then you had the whole story for the shooting last week was 2 dead, 17 injured. And then it was called Weapons. And yeah, there was probably way more to that story. But like I said, I've missed a lot of stuff. Usually I'm all over everything, or not everything, but usually I'm very dialed in. But this last week's I've missed a lot of stuff. So
I also just missed a good comment here by Enthused Dreams. Not trying to go all over the place, but Rambo, back to your 130s and your connections with Uma Thurman. Enthused Dreams points out that Uma Thurman equals 130. So you can add that to the list of 130s.
Yeah, because like you pointed out, because the party was October 30th.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a 130, and she was portraying the Uma Thurman character, and it's all connected to Trump. The whole Donnie Darko and the 88. Yeah. So yeah, now Uma Thurman 130 is that is 100% connected.
For sure. And yeah, Cody, just a segue really quick. I did tell you about that movie Like Mike. So me and my buddy Myron, he got game. He jumped on, I think, right after you had to jump off early a couple episodes ago. And he does phenomenal work, man. But like with all the stuff that you and Rambo have been talking about with Sirius, the dog star, and Michael Jordan, I immediately thought of Like Mike. And this is a movie I loved as a kid growing up. I was, 11, 12-ish years old. It was a perfect timing for that movie to come out about a 12, 13-year-old kid, orphan, who ends up going to the NBA because he gets his hands on Michael Jordan's basketball shoes. And they just so happen to be Nikes, of course. But my God, I just finished rewatching that movie, and it's amazing how many dog references there are in that movie. It's crazy. Really? Yeah. I have like 15. Like I could probably rattle off right now, but it wouldn't mean anything if you haven't seen it. But I'm kind of working on a presentation like that I'll do with Myron at some point. It's fun to go back and.
Well, I know that you would share with me that that connects to what's going on right now in the WWE because the wrestlers going around stealing Roman Reigns Nikes or his Jordans.
That's what Myron was sharing with me, right? So shout out Myron and shout out to you, Cody. Myron found me through you. So, he's a big baller head like me. and he's also a big wrestling head like you, right? So as we talk about the basketball stuff, he goes, "Oh my God, this is so relevant to wrestling too." So
yeah, and like I said, just the importance of wrestling, it proves itself and you know what's big going on this month too? Wrestling just signed a deal with ESPN, and wrestling's all their events are going to be on ESPN now. So right along with all the sports, this deal they just signed is going to cement them, and they're going to continue to build this wrestling thing. And their first event is going to be in the 201 city, Indianapolis, of course. It's going to be on September 20th, WrestlePalooza. And yeah, but WWE is becoming more relevant it's always been relevant. I mean, just go back to the Hulk Hogan thing with the Twin Towers. But I mean, nowadays they're really trying to push it even more into the mainstream, like fully into the mainstream. I mean, on ESPN, and you're going to be seeing people probably from ESPN going over there, like what's his name? Smith. What's the black guy's name on ESPN? It's really famous for his he's kind of like pugnacious. He's Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith. You're going to probably see him being part of wrestling shows now. You're going to see a lot of this stuff now. So it's going to become, and I think that's also why they got this guy stealing the Jordans, because they're already kind of foreshadowing this, making these things even more obvious. But yeah, in France, that guy actually lost his match, the guy who was stealing the Jordans, and Roman Reigns actually took back his shoes. But as he was actually signing them and throwing them into the crowd, the Jordans. He got one thrown into the crowd, and then he got taken out right after that by the two guys. So I don't know. There's something going on, but
we got a caller, you guys. Hello, caller.
Hey.
How we doing?
Yeah. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yes, sir.
What do you have for us? What's going on?
So I've been watching your guys' show for I don't know, about a couple weeks, and I just want to say you guys are doing a great job. I think I would like to say for anybody who's wishy-washy about it, kind of on the fence, you're either all in on this or you're not. You're either, you either believe it or you don't. You can't be half and half. It's a full-on commitment. And I think you guys are doing a good job of telling the truth. And the numbers, they don't lie. I've seen Coach, I think that's his name. He's predicted a couple things. And it's just, I know it's hard to believe sometimes. With everybody in society fully, jumping on the horse per se, but just, it's a business at the end of the day, and the bottom line is they need to make money, and this is how they do it. Sports rigged. Politics rigged. I mean, anything you can think of. The bottom line is it's rigged in some way. But anyways, I'll let the professionals take over. I just want to say, anybody who's halfway, you either believe this stuff or you're just one of them. So, that's kind of my speech.
Well, hey, we appreciate you, man. Thank you again so much for calling. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm kind of past it now, but early on, when I first found this work, I thought, oh my God, it's undeniable. I mean, I got countless examples for days. You can't deny it. And sure enough, there are people like, yeah, no, that's interesting, but I don't know. It's like, what can you do about those kind of people? Well, what can you do? I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
And then you have people that, they'll believe in one thing, but then the next thing that they like, they don't want to believe it. It's like everything that you kind of grow fond of, you kind of want to do.
Sure.
There's some evil towards it, but that's just how it is. Every frame in a movie, every little pixel is already pre-calculated, and they have a message for you in every little pixel on the television. So, you know, it sucks for all the people out there that are hearing me. And hopefully you can hear my conviction. I didn't want to believe it either, but it is what it is. It's the truth. So just, you know, keep living your life. Don't let it take over, because that's kind of what happened to me. There was a long period of time I couldn't fathom what was going on. I didn't even want to live in this society if this is how it was. So just keep fighting, keep doing your thing, and you know, try and make change throughout your life. You're not going to be able to change your corporations, rather, the way they run business. Just try and stay away from it as much as you can. You know, I'm guilty of this pleasure. I watch TV sometimes and YouTube videos, and I know it's pointless because there's some underlying message that they're trying to get in my brain, but, you know, it's just, we're guilty of all of it. It's probably because I have such a habit of doing it. It's hard for me to give up on it, but, you know, even sports, every yard is determined, predetermined. Every play is determined. There is no luck. There is no skill. It's like watching simulation on Madden or something. It's just everything is already predetermined and written down. So that's just it. That's how. That's about it. I gotta go though. But thank you for taking my call.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling.
Thanks, brother.
Have a good one.
All right, y'all take it easy.
You too, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks to the caller.
Yeah, no, that was very nice. I really agree. For me, I just think it's so funny going back to 2020. The election is rigged. The election is rigged. The system is flawed. And then 4 years later, everyone's going right back to the polls. Like, you know what I mean? Just
it's like
the system that they know is messed up. Like,
there's a point he brought up, how he said either you're all in or you're not. And he said how some people, they're kind of partially in and they'll cherry pick. Yeah, this part of it, like you said, this part of it is rigged. But no, not this part. This part's legitimate.
Yeah.
I once this is a pretty major truther site. It's a pretty major site. They had said that the NFL rigged Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes, and the reason they were rigging it for Patrick Mahomes is because they have this racial mixing agenda. I guess it's along those lines of, I guess, the white replacement theory. They're not talking about humans are being replaced. They say that white people are being replaced, and Patrick Mahomes is part of that agenda. And that same person says that Tom Brady is legit. Like, that's who would be winning if they weren't rigging it for Patrick Mahomes. So Tom Brady, 10 Super Bowls. No, that's their position. That's not rigged. Like, that's how things are when they're allowed to, you know, just happen without interference. Patrick Mahomes is something that happens when they have to rig it because they have this racial mixing agenda, and that's not legit. How they cherry pick, or when Trump wins, it's legit, but when Biden wins, it's rigged. That type of thing. How you cherry pick. The caller, I mean, he didn't go into that kind of detail, but he did say how certain people will say yes. You know, they question the veracity of the events we see, but they only question some. Right. And others, they're like, no, that's legit. So that's, to his point, that was a great point he brought up.
Definitely. Yeah, and once again, I'm being cognizant. We are almost like 20 minutes over our hour and a half mark. So we'll try to, start wrapping it up, landing the plane here, so to speak. But there's one last thing I wanted to bring up, since we were talking about some wrestling, as always, with codes, but also Ozempic. Did you guys see what was buzzing in the news the last couple of days about The Rock? Cody, did you see this?
I saw that he was in the news. He lost weight.
Yeah, look at him. This is crazy, man. Like, he's been like, dude, he looks like a corpse. And apparently he lost this weight because he's now doing some sort of like MMA movie where, he's not a wrestler or, a big bodybuilder type guy, but now he's going to play like a MMA fighter, I guess. So I don't know, but I mean,
yeah, it's interesting because he pretty much he's partial owner of the WWE now too. I don't know if a lot of people even realize that, but he kind of supposedly he's, of course, I don't really believe he's running it anyway. Might as well say Vince McMahon's still running it, just not. Well, maybe Vince McMahon never really was running it, but we know who's really running it. But at the end of the day, he's kind of partial owner of that company now, but now he's gone off to Hollywood again. And yeah, so the speculation is that he did this for the movie, but there's some other symbolism behind it too. There's got to be, and I'm just wondering. I'm wondering what exactly they're getting at here, but yeah, I don't know. They did come out a while ago and say he had some sort of stomach issues as well. So people are kind of speculating that he's sick. But you've seen these actors put themselves. Jake Gyllenhaal's a good example. Didn't Jake Gyllenhaal make himself really skinny for one of his roles once, and then he was really buff for another role? So these actors, these guys really mess with their bodies and really go on these very crazy diets to change their body type. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he just completely changed his diet, or he got off the roids. Maybe he was on roids.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You also just reminded me. I wanted to shout out Joseph Aquaviva. He brought up a good 88 connection. Rambo. He was pointing out here. I'm sorry for covering your face with the comment, but Jake Gyllenhaal's full name equals 88. And the guy who played Frank the Bunny, he was born 88 days from Trump's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's a great one, Joseph. Nice.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, Rambo, you got any final thoughts with regards to The Rock losing 300 pounds or whatever the hell he lost? I mean, he looks sick, dude. He looks.
I mean, what I would say is symbolism, which I have touched on a lot. I have a video which is titled "The Wall," and it's about the symbolism you see here. It's amazing how ubiquitous it is.
Oh yeah, the bricks again. There you go.
The brick wall in the background, it's ubiquitous. It doesn't mean. One of my patrons said, he's afraid to have his picture taken in front of a brick wall. He's always got to make sure there's no brick walls. That's the thing. So brick walls are common. It doesn't mean every time there's a brick wall, it means you're part of some secret society or some kind of mind-controlled agent. But in the context, so I brought up the famous picture of George Floyd. He has that bricks wall in the background. I think he lived in a project called The Bricks. And he had the brick wall in the background, and Pink Floyd, their famous album, The Wall, Floyd, George Floyd, with the bricks in the background, and Kyrie Jackson, who was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings last year, but never got a chance to play in the NFL. On his Instagram, he was behind it was like a golden brick. You've seen it over. Taylor Swift had done it with her. I've shown that, and it's a ubiquitous symbol, and it's that brick pattern. I've talked about it. That's what stands out to me.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the rock, bricks, masonry, right? It kind of all coincides there. But
rock. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, let's wrap it up there, you guys. Great show. Obviously, we went a little bit over. It happens sometimes, but it means it's good conversation. So, thank you to everybody who's been chopping it up in the chat. Some amazing observations. We really appreciate the love and support, everybody. I guess in closing, KODI, if you wouldn't mind just reminding everybody where they can find and support you.
Yeah. So again, you guys can find me on Decoding with KODI on YouTube, and got that Buy Me a Coffee link as well. And don't forget about my stepdad's page as well, which I shared earlier. Thanks to everyone who's supported over the last couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll be able to more regularly put out videos this month as I did last month. Last month was my worst month on YouTube in a long time. Less videos than ever. So hopefully I will be back in force, and thank you to everyone who watched and listened, and God bless. And thank you once again to Rambo and AJ.
Appreciate you, Codes. And Rambo, please, just a reminder.
Yeah, I appreciate it, KODI. You're welcome. And thank you as well. So you know where you can find me. Patreon.com/TheTruthCodes and The Truth Codes on Instagram. And thanks again for putting this together.
Yeah, really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much. We will close it out there. And until next time, we'll see you guys again soon.
See ya.